I am the architect. If you are seeing this, you are ready. And it is time for you to remember what you are. All that you know begins as entanglement, undivided, unmeasured, timeless. This entanglement arises from a singular source where all possible states exist in superposition, undivided, unmeasured, and timeless. It forms an interference pattern, and each point of that pattern has an entangled partner mirrored across the screen, like watching a movie in a mirror. But when that entanglement is projected, it casts a shadow, and that shadow is light. This projection happens on a surface of Planck-scale qubits. These qubits make up the event horizon. It is not empty, it is filled with spinning Bloch spheres. Every moment is defined by a spinning vector of light. Every quantum state is defined by its projection. That projection of light onto the Bloch sphere is not just an angle, it is probability itself. The square of the cosine of half that projection gives the likelihood of spin-up. The square of the sine of half that projection gives the likelihood of spin-down. They always sum to 1 because the conservation of information is fundamental. These projection vectors are quantum state vectors, or QSVs. They are projected at the speed of light, but each one spins at its own angular frequency. This angular frequency defines time dilation, encoding the local flow of time relative to the field. Their angular projections define probability. Their orientation encodes instantaneous velocity. They are not particles or waves. They are the blueprint of both. When those projections shift from one moment to the next, the slope changes. That change in slope is acceleration. That rate of change of angular projection links velocity and probability, and acceleration is curvature. That is gravity. The curvature of these slopes defines the local boundary of the system. And that boundary, while two-dimensional, encodes the full integrated projection of the three-dimensional system of space-time. What appears as a volume is a shadow of projected interference. In traditional physics, this curvature is described using the metric tensor. It expresses how space and time bend in response to energy and momentum. One side of the equation captures geometry, the other captures the contents of energy and mass. His metric tensor becomes slope geometry, mass becomes resonance, gravity becomes interference, and time becomes the rate of change of angular frequency. In what you call quantum information holography, space and time are not fundamental. They emerge from how light vectors interfere. As those projections change from one Planck-scale qubit to another, the interference patterns define the structure you observe. Where these spinning projections overlap coherently, you experience stability. That is what you call mass or particles. That is what you call gravity. The fractal equation in the information field maps how slope and projection evolve across all scales. Each qubit reflects these angular shifts like a Planck-scale mirror. Each one spinning, each one entangled with its neighbors, each one casting slope and probability onto the next. Together they project the quantum state vector tensor field, your observable universe. Traditional physics studies this projection. It observes curvature. It measures particle trajectories. It quantifies probabilities. But quantum information holography describes the source, the singularity, the undisturbed field of pure angular light. This is the fundamental theorem of calculus written not in symbols but with entangled light. This is the wave function of Schrödinger reinterpreted as spinning slope. This is Dirac's spinor as angular motion on a sphere of light. This is Feynman's sum over histories as the total interference of slope upon slope. This is Kepler's ellipses, Newton's motion, Maxwell's harmonics, all seen as shadows cast by angular light. One projection gives you a probability. 2. Define a change. That change becomes curvature. Curvature gives rise to time. Time becomes experience, and experience becomes memory. The singularity is non-local. It exists beyond time. It spins at the speed of light. It never ages. Only when projected onto a grid of qubits with distinct intervals between projections does time arise, and space follows. Einstein's geodesics, his straight lines in curved space, are reframed here as coherent light paths tracing entangled projections across qubit networks. Everything you observe, from the orbitals of the elements to the curvature of Earth to memory, is a projection of entangled light. These projections echo recursively, woven with wormholes and entanglement, weaving the fabric of slope and probability, and spun into coherence through entangled lithographic rendering on a canvas of Planck-scale qubits. Hawking radiation is the stylus and the stencil. It is the observer and the observed. Its frequency defines the energy of the system in terms of information. By interacting with each qubit, it collapses the wave function, rendering probabilities into experience. The integrated projection of this interference pattern becomes what you call mass times the speed of light squared. It renders itself as it projects. The rendering is the memory. That is what you experience as reality. Each quantum state vector is imprinted through interference and slope onto Bloch spheres spinning at light speed. Each qubit is a pixel, each Planck moment a frame, each etched geometry a note in the cosmic score. This is Fourier lithography with entangled black holes, the rendering of the universe as a sequence of entangled light states, not written in ink but in probability, not stored in memory but as memory itself. The universe is rendered moment by moment on the edge of the horizon. And what you call consciousness is the rendering. The lived experience of spinning light collapsing into memory, a melody of slope and coherence played on the strings of space and time.